Daniel Sports Central, we go over a March Madness game preview and prediction on the Sweet 16 matchup between the UConn Huskies and the San Diego State Aztecs, a rematch of last year's national championship game. A lot has happened since then, but the Aztecs are once again in the way of UConn as they try to pursue another national championship. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Let's get started with their team trends. UConn had no problems in their first two rounds, beating Stetson and Northwestern. Took care of Stetson 91-52 and beat Northwestern 75-58. Although the way that game went in the first half, honestly, I'm surprised that game ended up being as close as it was. If you look at San Diego State on the other side, a close game against UAB. Honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they lost to Yale in the second round, just based on Yale coming off of that huge upset against Auburn. But also, the Aztecs didn't look exactly that impressive in the first round, but they sure did in the second, taking care of Yale no problem, 85-57. So, I mean, based on how the Aztecs looked there and UConn off the first two rounds, honestly, this is a game that, despite UConn being a clear and obvious favorite, they're favored by 11.5 points here. I can guarantee you that the Aztecs more than likely won't come out flat. This is an experienced team that is going to, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder in this matchup, given the fact they lost to them for a national championship last season. But games will be on Thursday the 28th in Boston. Tip-off is just after 7:30 Eastern. Over-under is going 135.5, so a pretty low line there. Although it makes sense, both teams are pretty strong on defense. UConn is especially a strong team on offense in comparison to San Diego State. The Aztecs put an emphasis on defense. UConn is, that's the thing, is UConn is pretty much just as good as San Diego State is on defense. It's just UConn is that complete of a team. They are elite on offense. They're elite on defense. This is the most complete team in the tournament. So it makes sense to see why they're a heavy favorite in this matchup and expected by some to just blow out San Diego State. If you look at the East region, on the other side, you got Illinois and Iowa State, two teams that are red hot right now. I said that in my Illinois-Iowa State preview. That's a matchup that's honestly Final Four caliber game. You got two teams that won their respective conference tournaments. They're both on fire right now. So UConn, no matter who, assuming UConn wins this matchup, or honestly whoever wins this, they're bound for a pretty challenging game, I would say, in the Elite Eight, considering Illinois and Iowa State, the level that they're playing at right now. Your stat comparison, UConn, 82 points a game, 64 points allowed. In fact, the Aztecs are known for their strong defense. That's what they're known for. But they're still allowing more points a game than UConn is. They're allowing 66 and getting 75. So, that just goes to show how dominant of a team UConn has been this season, and just how brutal it's going to be for any team to take them down in this tournament. They're 7-2 against the top 25. San Diego State is a perfect 3-0, although they haven't played a super difficult schedule. Your key points, UConn, 33 wins this season. They're the clear favorite to win it all for a reason. Honestly, it's been a while since we've seen a team that's been this favored in March Madness to win the title, which, that can bring on some pressure. And we've seen teams in this similar situation ending up getting upset in the tournament because of that. But I feel like UConn, it's just not a team that I see losing right now at this current point. This is a dominant team that's also experienced, which is huge. They got experience from their national title winning season last year, which, by the way, last year they were the 4 seed, obviously, but the run that they had was so dominant. They didn't really even have a close game in last year's tournament. And so far it's been similar for UConn, and this is an even better team than what we saw in last year's tournament. So that's why this team is such a heavy favorite. They've allowed more than 70 points in only 7 games this season. That's something that really stands out to me for UConn. Being as strong of a team all around, only allowing 70 points in 7 of your 36 games to get to this point is extremely impressive. You look at the Aztecs, they're experienced, they're brutal defensively. Jaden Ledee is the main standout for this team, averaging 22 points a game. Also leads this team in rebounds, so he's the main standout. UConn's got standouts everywhere, though. So that's their advantage for sure. And the Aztecs have been a bit inconsistent this season, but they're also a streaky team that once they put together a couple of impressive games, they are hard to stop. And that's something that is dangerous about the Aztecs. They took care of Yale, no problem. If they can have that same strong start in this matchup, UConn is a totally different team than Yale is. That goes without saying, but the Aztecs need that same energy at the start, try to keep it close. You're not going to blow out UConn. So really what it is for the Aztecs is keeping it close and hopefully getting a big shot late in the game that gives you a chance. But with that, let's get a prediction here for UConn and San Diego State. Rematch of last year's national championship in the Sweet 16 for a chance at the Elite Eight. In the end, I just can't go against the Huskies right now. Going UConn 78-65. So I'm going to go with like a 13-point win or so for UConn. I think they cover the spread. I will say, I feel like this is a game that's, UConn in the first half has been so dominant so far in this tournament. So they're going to start quick. But I feel like for the Aztecs, they're at least going to keep it close for a little while, but I feel like in the second half, it's just going to be too much for San Diego State, and UConn pulls away, ends up winning this game by 13 or so. So I'm going Huskies 65%. I would be pretty surprised if San Diego State won this. They're going to have motivation here. They've got the chip on their shoulder of, now they lost to this team in last year's national championship, but once again, that's just not going to be enough for a team that's just not as talented as UConn and not as complete as the Huskies are. So I'm taking over and UConn to cover the spread in the end, and the Huskies proceed on to the Elite Eight once again. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup, and who do you think advances on to the Elite Eight? And I appreciate you guys all watching as always. My name's Evan, this is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you on the next one.